Well, good evening and welcome to the Board of Education meeting for Greeley Evans School District 6. Today is the 10th of June, 2024. This meeting will now come to order. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Lemon, will you call the roll for us, please?
Director Zari.
Present.
Director Bentley.
Present.
Director Campos-Spitzi.
Present.
Director Mash. Present. Director Matthews.
Present.
Director Norwood. Director Sullivan.
Present.
6 board members present.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Well, again, welcome to our Board of Education meeting for District 6. For those of you who are joining us online, this will be obvious to everyone who's here in person, but we are not in our normal location. We were impacted by the hail and storm that happened about a week, 2 weeks ago in downtown Greeley, and so our administration building in District 6 is under some repair, and so we are here at the lovely Toynton Pre-Engineering Academy. And so we are very thankful to the Toynton staff for allowing us to be here. This is a wonderful space for a meeting. I don't know that the people at home or watching online can see this, but we're sitting directly under an airplane, and that's a pretty cool thing to get to do. I want to say congratulations again to our graduates that graduated over the last 2 weeks. Also our teachers that finished up, all those who are making transitions, we wish you the best and are very appreciative of our teachers, and very proud of our graduates. Tonight we'll be approving a budget, and that's our budget is about $490 million, and you'll get to hear some discussion on that. The budget process is not something that we do in one night. This takes months of meetings, and our finance team spends months developing what they think the budget will be. We finally get the numbers from the state in May typically, and then this is the final approval tonight. It is a $490 million budget. There's $345 million of that in our general fund, and then several other special funds like our capital projects fund. But that's the total on that. There are a few things on this budget that are significant. This is the first time since, I think, 2011 where there is no budget stabilization factor in our budget. And that's something we have long wanted to see removed. Our state government has removed from this district $245 million. That's just from District 6 since 2011. And so that we will finally, for the first time, it's not gone away completely that we know, but this is the first time since about 2011 that there is no budget stabilization factor. It's also the first budget in the last few years where we don't have ESSER funding. That's the federal funding that was given to us for COVID spending, and this will be the first one where we approve a budget, and that's not a part of the budget either. And so, just a few changes that we have seen since the last budget. But that's our budget, and then also tonight we want to remember Dr. Bruce Broderius. And for those of you who don't know who Dr. Broderius was, he was elected to the Board of Education in 2003. He was reelected in 2007, and then he finished up in 2011. He was the president of our board for about 5 years, from 2005 to 2010. And he was, even after that service, was an incredible friend to this district, an incredible supporter of this district. He was a great supporter to me. He served as the president of the board in some very difficult years for District 6. Those were some of those first years that we were just talking about with where the funding was beginning to be cut, and there were a lot of difficult decisions. And so he was a great source of support for me during COVID, and would call me regularly to check on me. And so we miss him, and will miss him greatly. Offer our condolences to all of his family, and we want to take just a moment of silence to honor him, his contribution to to this district and to our city in general. Thank you. And that's all I have by the way of announcements, and I will turn this over to Dr. Pilch for her Superintendent's Honor Roll.
Thank you so much, and I saw many of our students and staff gathered as part of the Superintendent's Honor Roll. I'm going to ask some of our staff to help me with this tonight. It's really a pleasure to do this at the end of the school year when so many of you have given so much this school year and contributed so greatly to District 6, and we thank you so much. I'd first like to recognize, the first student I'd like to recognize tonight is we have a student with us, and Miss Amanda Krieger, our coordinator of our AVID program, is going to join me on this. But I'd like to invite Alejandro to come up. Our AVID student, Alejandro Silva Rodello, is a senior at Greeley West High School. And for those of us who've been a part of the National AVID Conference, one of the most significant parts of that conference is a student panel. And they invite students from all over the country to come and tell their AVID story and to talk about their work in AVID. Alejandro, as I understand it, submitted an application to be one of the panelists at the national conference in Denver this summer. And so Alejandro will be representing us and really the nation of AVID students. And so very proud you've been selected. You know, the first time I went to the AVID National Conference, I was like, gosh, why isn't one of our students here? And so it's so exciting to know that you'll be there and you'll be representing the Greeley Evans School District 6. Congratulations to you, and I want to give Ms. Krieger a chance to share, and I don't know if she's going to let you share or not. We'll get your butterflies going just in case, okay?
So Alejandro has been a student in AVID since the 6th grade at Heath Middle School. And throughout his 7 years in AVID, he's been a student ambassador for the AVID program at West, a student leader for AVID Summer Institute, a student panelist for the Denver Nuggets AVID Night. And then outside of AVID, Alejandro is also West's varsity soccer goalkeeper, a member of the Mexican American Society, and an editor for Greeley West's student newspaper, The Westward. Do you sleep ever? Do you have time for that?
Yeah.
A little bit? Okay. Alejandro plans to pursue his passion for sports and writing by attending Metro State University in Denver and attaining a degree in broadcast journalism. So congratulations, and if you would like to say anything, we'll give you that opportunity.
So actually, I would just like to thank my parents, my family that's right there in the right side, or the right side. They've actually been very supportive of just me being up and around the school these last 4 years at Greeley West. My parents especially, they've been, before I started driving, they were up and around with me, taking me, even sometimes just with countless nights, helping me with homework, helping me how to just make things perfect, just down to the littlest detail. My siblings as well, they've been very supportive of me pursuing this passion of like public speaking and also getting the news out to the people. And I guess just my main thing is I want to do news for the people, just by the people as well. And it's just a huge honor for me to be recognized for this and just continue to represent the district.
Congratulations to you, Alejandra, as well as to your family and Ms. Krieger and your teachers. So, and I see you seeing some of your former teachers there in the back. Congratulations, Alejandro. I know you'll represent us well. It is also my honor tonight, as part of Superintendent's Honor Roll, to recognize our athletes from the spring sports who were our state champions and state qualifiers. So first, I'd like to recognize Northridge High School and bring up Mr. Anthony Osmus and our coaches and team from Northridge High School.
President Matthews, members of the board, and Dr. Pilch, My name is Anthony Alsmus. I am the Assistant Superintendent of Secondary and now K-8, but also oversee athletics with the help of my district AD, Chris Klein, some great building ADs, which you'll hear from tonight a little bit, and even building principals. It's a very hard time of year, as you could guess. A lot of our students that did qualify for state were not able to make it, but we do have a lot of students that are here, and I'm excited to show them off to you. And I'll start off with Northridge, and I'm going to introduce to you Mr. Aaron Allen, who will kick us off.
Good evening, board. Dr. Pilch. I'm Aaron Allen, principal at Northridge High School, but I'm also the substitute for Jeff Collins, our athletic director. He's working with a small team for some restorative practices right now, and so he's doing some great work for our school. But I'm very lucky to introduce some wonderful athletes that we have at Northridge. We're very thankful that we get to honor our state qualifiers at these board meetings. To start with, our girls soccer team. You want to step forward a little bit, girls soccer team? Our girls soccer team finished the season with a 9-5-2 record and earned a 20 seed in the state playoffs. Unfortunately, they lost the first round, but anytime a team makes it to the tournament, it's worth celebrating. Special recognition to both Riley Beck and Sunny Yarnell for earning state honorable mention. For our girls golf team led by AJ Johnson, our coach, it doesn't happen often, but we're able to qualify all 4 of our varsity golfers to the state tournament as individuals, as we placed 4th at the regional tournament. Since Northridge only has a girls golf team in Greeley, the team is made up of Grace Gerbers from Greeley West, Emma Marie Miles from University, Jade Hepler from University, and Layla Thompson from University. And then finally, to our track students, we sent 15 students to the state track meet. The team is coached by Ben Lundstrom, Ryan Burkholder, Alex Kruk, and Bryce Holcomb. I'd like to recognize Savannah Amack, who recently graduated with us, earning all-state second team honors in the triple jump. Savannah, in her 4 years, has earned 2/3, a second, and a state championship in her 4 years as a triple jumper. So thanks so much for having us this evening. We have such a great athletics program at Northridge, and we're so happy that we get to share our students.
And go Grizzlies. Thank you. And next, JJ, bring your team up. I'd like to introduce JJ Behrens, and he's bringing up members from the Greeley West athletic teams who also qualified for state. So I'll turn this over to JJ.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is JJ Behrens, Athletic Director at Greeley West High School. I want to thank all of you guys for giving us the time to showcase our student athletes here at Greeley West. We're going to start off tonight with our 2 state qualifiers from our track team, who are also here with their coaches, Cody Billings and Tomas Rivera. Come on up, guys.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to shout out Corbin Waugh and Valeria Calzada. Corbin Waugh finished 9th at state. He's a 2-time state qualifier. He's headed off to UNC with his brother Caden Waugh. They are piloting a throwing program over there, so that's really cool to see. Valeria placed 7th, and she will be back. She is a sophomore, and I'm excited to see what they do in the future. Thank you.
Next, we have our boys swim and dive team. They had 8 qualifiers this year, and they're represented by their coach, Colin Shehay and Emily Douglas.
Thanks for inviting us all. My name's Colin Shea, and this is Emma Douglas. Here we have Timothy Kenigsberg, Sam Sasaki, Ian Spooner, and Jaden England. All of these young men own school and city record swimming records. Jaden in the 200 freestyle relay, and these three right here, Jaden and Ian and Timothy in the 200 freestyle relay, and Sam, Timothy, and Ian in the 400 free relay. And I got to tell you, on that 400 free relay, which is the last event at state, and it's absolutely an emotional event. Everyone has to swim 100. Everyone is tired, and we were able to qualify for the B finals. And we decided to change things up a little bit. Now, that's the worst coaching decision you can ever make. It's the last thing, hey, let's change everything up. Ian was usually the anchor on that, and he was having a very, very good day. Earlier in the day, he set a school and a Greeley record in the 100 fly, and I said, let's run him first in that 400 free relay so he can get a time for his 100 free, and the rest of the guys are going, right, I have to do something that I'm not sure I can do. But they took that challenge, and they stepped up to the plate. I like to mix my metaphors, and they dropped over 2 seconds in that 400 free relay. And when the stress is on, it's always good to perform just a little bit better, a +1. So they represented Greeley, they represented West, they represented the sport very well. So thank you. And Everett dove, and I tell you what, overcoming stresses and disappointments, Everett in the morning, they run all the diving at the beginning, and they don't take a break. And he had a couple good dives, and then he had one that it was a little bit off. And Timothy wanted me to talk. Are you the one who said that? Right. Okay. Well, I know Emma came up, and he didn't think he was going to make the cut, the top 20 cut, and so he kind of resigned to that. Wasn't upset about that, and he made it. I think he came in at 19th, and then he said, "Oh, here I am. I got to take advantage of the situation. I got to do what I can do," and he moved up a couple more spots. And so, equally impressive is coming back from disappointment. All of these young men kind of show that on a daily basis. So yeah, and Everett placing 18th. Thank you.
And for this group, I'll say go Spartans. And also for Everett Mash, who swims for Greeley West, but goes to school at Central, I'll say go Wildcats. Thank you.
I think does that conclude our superintendent's honor roll? Okay. All right. If you are here to honor students, we welcome you to stick around for the rest of this meeting, but also we understand you might want to not stick around, and so this is a good time to exit, and we will not be offended. Next on our agenda is to approve the agenda, and we'll need a motion to do that.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley-Evans School District 6 approves the agenda as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the agenda? I'm not seeing any, Ms. Lemon, so will you give us a vote, please?
Director Zari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Next on our agenda is the public hearing on the proposed 2024-2025 district budget. The This is pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 2244-110. Any taxpayer residing in the school district is entitled to register his or her comments on the proposed budget with the Board of Education, either in writing or in person at this public hearing. The proposed budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year has been posted on our website for review, but I did not see that we have anybody here to speak. Ms. Lemon, do we have anyone here to speak tonight?
Nobody signed up to speak.
Okay. All right. We'll move right along to the adoption of the budget.
I move that the Board of Education of Weld County School District 6 approves the proposed budget for the 2024-25 fiscal year. This includes a total appropriation of $490,195,963, the transfer of funds from the general fund, and the use of the beginning fund balance where required, as presented in the board budget document, the proposed budget document.
Second.
Thank you both. Before we open this up for discussion, Dr. Pilch, is there anything you would like to say by way of introduction for the budget?
Thank you, President Matthews. I'll invite Ms. Sponsor, our Chief Financial Officer, to the podium should you have additional questions you'd like to ask her. We won't do a formal presentation in this business meeting, as you received a formal presentation in the previous work session, and each of you and I have met individually with Ms. Sponsor to go through the budget proposal and to ask questions and to better understand this next year's budget. And Ms. Sponsor's former supervisor is here tonight, Mr. Wayne Eads, so I hope you'll ask her some questions. No question,
Your Honor. And guys, if you need to speak, normally I know when you want to speak, but in this location I won't know, so just speak as you would like.
This isn't a comment. This is just a statement. And for those of you who are interested in knowing how school funding works and also how District 6 is appropriating the tax dollars that you as voters have given to us, we once again want to thank you for passing the mill levy override and the bond issue, which have allowed us to be in this beautiful space. But you can see how all of that is being appropriated on our website under financial transparency. The whole budget is 200 some pages. It has amazing pie graphs and other different kinds of graphs. You can see our per pupil funding over time, the way that our revenues have fluctuated, how our COVID relief dollars were spent. It's a huge task that Ms. Sponsler and her team provide every year, both for the public and for the board, to understand exactly our financial picture. And also we are audited once a year. We always receive glowing reviews for that as well. So just, I guess this is a commercial and a shout out to the finance team. But it's really fascinating. You also can see each school, the demographics, how many students have different races, different socioeconomic statuses. If we have special ed students there, gifted and talented students there, it's just kind of cool to get a snapshot of each buildings.
Any other questions?
I'd also like to add, Mr. President, that Ms. Sponsler did sit down with each one of us as board members and took us through the budget and gave us opportunities to ask questions and to seek clarification on behalf of the community, and that the budget is online and transparent. And I appreciated her time on that. And maybe just one thing you might want to speak to is the insurance situation, what we're doing with health insurance in regards to the district.
Okay. I'd be happy to answer that question. So this is the first year that we are moving into a self-insured health insurance plan. We have been fully insured for many, many years, and this is a year that it made sense that we move into the self-funding model. And thanks to the board appropriating money from fund balance, we can start the fund off with a little bit of a reserve and pay any claims that come forward. This should be a huge cost savings to the district. We're looking at our claims data. We just received the latest report last week, and it looks really good. So I think this is a good decision for us.
Thank you, Mr. Azari, for your question. Any other questions for Ms. Sponsler? Again, we thank you for the opportunity to ask questions in advance of this meeting and to get a thorough explanation of the changes for those of us that have been on the board for a while. Some of this looks very familiar, but there are always changes and what's gone up and what's gone down. And so we appreciate all the time you have spent in the last 2 weeks to educate us on what's happening. But it does not appear that we have any more questions for you, Ms. Sponsler. And so, Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Zari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mesh?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. And again, thank you, Ms. Sponsler, Dr. Pilch, and our finance team for all the work on this budget. Next on our agenda is our superintendent's report. And so, Dr. Pilch, I will give it back to you.
Thank you, President Matthews, and I will ask your forgiveness in advance. I have several items. It is our last meeting of the school year, and I want to update you all on several things. First of all, many of you mentioned your enjoyment of participating in the graduation ceremonies and seeing our graduates. As of today, we've graduated 1,413 students in District 6. And I say as of today because I understand that one more graduate just finished today. And we'll continue to prepare graduates and complete them with the District 6 graduation requirements here going up to the GAP graduation and really all the way into August. So kudos to all of our staff, our teachers, and all the support staff who give so much to support our students to get them across that stage and into college and career. I want to recognize them. I also want to recognize all of the staff who have been coming in every single day since school got out for training. Just today, those of us who were arriving early, we saw teachers leaving who had been here doing professional development for mathematics. So our teachers continue to train as we go into summer, and so do our other support staff in preparation for next school year. I often get asked, like, so school's out, so you're off now, right? What do you guys do in the summertime? So the teachers in the audience are shaking their heads. They know they're never really off. But I'm very proud of the work that goes on. We also have over 3,200 students in summer school right now, pre-K through 12. And some of those students are receiving special education services. Some of those students are catching up on things they need to catch up on. Some are being pushed up. And what I mean by that is we might have students, we do have students who took Algebra 1 this past school year, and they want to be ready for Algebra 2 next school year. So they're taking geometry this summer to get ready for Algebra 2. We also have hundreds of credits being earned through credit recovery, catching up kids who didn't quite finish a class, those will particularly be high school age students, to keep them on track for their high school graduation. So really proud of all of our summer school staff and all of the work that's happening in summer school. And then I want to give you a brief update. President Matthews, you mentioned our location here tonight because of the hailstorm and the rainstorm and the flood, but I do want to say that 3 of our buildings, fortunately they're district level buildings, are not schools, did receive pretty significant damage due to the storm and how heavily it hit in downtown Greeley. So our district administration building does have significant damage in the basement and on the first floor. If you've been over there, you have seen that we have Service Pro there really doing significant work to improve the mess we have. Did I say something wrong, Kent? Service Master, thank you. I always miss, Service Pro isn't even one. That's a mixture of 2 companies. So Service Master has been there. I need to make sure and give them a shout out correctly because they have really stepped up and have taken care of all 3 of our buildings and will continue to work with us over the next several weeks to probably months. The building across the street from the district administration where we now have our family center and our student enrollment offices, that building is damaged significantly and will not be able to be occupied for some time as we continue to clean up and repair there. And then the building where we host the District 6 Online Academy also received damage, not quite as extensive, so hopefully we'll be able to get back in there sometime this summer. We do hope to be back in our boardroom this summer. Our basement at the district office is in pretty bad shape. So lots of work going on there and lots of efforts on the part of Mr. Henson and his team and support services to manage this crisis for us as those heavy rains and that hail hit in downtown Greeley here. So finally, I'd like to ask my friend and colleague, Chief of Safety and Security John Gates, to come up, please. You don't get to just sit over there. So Chief Gates is retiring from District 6 after over 2 decades of service to District 6. So those of you who know Chief Gates, you know that he served first in the Greeley Police Department and served a full career there, and then came to work for District 6 and has served as our director and later chief of safety and security here in the district, and has led the initiatives really over the 2 decades. All the changes that have occurred in school safety and security have been monumental, and Chief Gates has led those efforts. And it wasn't until just the last couple of years he's actually had much of a team around him to do that. He's been a pretty slim show, even though he is a large man. His show was pretty slim. And so just as he's retiring, we've had to hire like 3 people to replace him, who are all here tonight as well. And I'm just so grateful for the service that you've given, John, to the district. And I shared with the district leadership team last week that I'm starting my 10th year as superintendent, and Chief Gates has often been one of the first people I go to say, what would you do when we're in the middle of something really big, because of his leadership acumen and his strategic and analytic approach to leadership. And you all know we share him with the city of Greeley as the mayor, but there's not ever been a day that his District 6 job did not get 150%, and his mayor job got 150% as well. I don't know how you do it all. You're truly a remarkable man, and you've proven to be a trusted friend and colleague to so many of us here in the district, and I just thank you so much. And I want to honor a couple of your pals who have come out tonight to recognize you. Mr. Jess Quinby, a former board member and vice president of the board, I believe, before my time, and then Mr. Wayne Eads, who served as interim superintendent just prior to my coming, and then was also chief operating officer, and I know a very good friend of yours. And I'm so glad they came to send you off tonight. And so if either of you would like to say a few words as part of my superintendent report, you certainly may. But I'm going to ask Mr. Gates to start. And then if you'd like to say a few words, either of you certainly may, or you can pass.
Thank you for those kind comments, Dr. Pilch. As I was at DLT the other day, I'm a little bit emotional, but I'll get through this. It's been a great ride. I wouldn't change a thing if I had it to do over again. I tout in presentations that your safety and security team has over 50 years combined law enforcement experience. The fact that I'm leaving doesn't change that much. With the addition of Brian, the district's going to have over 45 years of law enforcement experience. I don't think too many safety security departments anywhere, regardless of the size of the district, can say that they've got 45, 50 years of law enforcement. There is a definite corollary to their knowledge about keeping students and staff safe. I leave with the utmost confidence that Wade Corliss, Brad Lupke, and Brian Breeze, the new addition, will do stellar work keeping your staff, your school board, and your students safe. And it's time to step aside, and I do it with a great deal of pride. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No? You're passing? You're too bashful? Okay. Thank you for coming tonight to honor your friend and former colleague, Chief Gates. And again, congratulations to you, John. We are sorry to see you go, and we wish you all the best as you go into your next journey, whatever that might be. Well, as administrators leave, we need to bring in new administrators to take their place. And so the final thing I'm going to do tonight, President Matthews, is introduce our latest really large group of hires here in District 6. And Brian, I'm going to start with you because I don't think we've yet introduced you since we were able to bring you up as the new Assistant Director of Safety and Security. So I want to introduce to you Brian Breeze. Brian came to us at Winograd as a Dean of Students. He has former police experience, extensive police experience, and is now stepping into the role of Assistant Director in Safety and Security as Brad Lupke steps up to director, and Wade Corliss stepped up to chief. So congratulations, Brian. We're so glad to have you. And then I want to introduce to you all the other folks that we have been busy hiring. And I know you all have received their bios, so I'm not going to go into the detail around their college education things, but I'd like to read each name, let you put a name with a face, and then at least see where they've been and where they're going to. And so if you guys would hold your applause until the end, and then I'll have you all stand up and just stay standing until I'm done talking about each of you, if I could, okay? So first, I would like to introduce to you Ellie Baylog, who is our new Dean of Students at Winograd. So she takes Brian's place at Winograd. Ellie comes to us from McAuliffe, where she was a 7th grade math teacher, but she also has a background in teaching culturally linguistic students. So welcome, Allie. And then I want to introduce to you our new Dean of Students at Greeley Central High School, Cassie Tedesco. So Cassie, her background has primarily been elementary and middle school. She comes to us having been at Franklin Middle School, and we're excited to have her at Greeley Central High School. I don't think that Valentino was able to make it tonight, but we also have a new AP, assistant principal at Greeley Central High School, Valentino Dressler, who comes to us having been a dean of students at Greeley West, and he also has a background in school counseling. And then I want to introduce to you some district, I want to introduce one more building person and 2 more, and then I'll go to district level. Miss Chloe Naki, did I see you here tonight? There you are, Chloe. So Chloe is our new principal at Scott Elementary. I think a lot of you know Chloe. She's been in the district quite some time. When she was finally a finalist in my office, I said, it is about time you decided you wanted to be a principal, Chloe. So she was an assistant principal at Maplewood, and most recently at Montfort, has instructional coaching experience and elementary teaching experience before that. So welcome, Chloe. And then because Chloe left Montfort as the AP and is going to be principal at Scott, that opened up the assistant principal job at Montfort, and I'm excited to announce and introduce you to Lacey Zwern as the new assistant principal at Montfort. She too comes to us having had teaching experience in the district and instructional coach experience, and has been doing some climate coach kind of work, pseudo-administrative work this past year at Montfort. So welcome, Lacey. Glad to have you. Now I want to introduce to you, well, let's give these guys a round of applause. Congratulations. You all can sit down. Congratulations. You probably see a theme here. We are doing a lot of internal hiring, and we're really excited about that. That means we're getting our people ready, and we're growing them up into the next job that we might have for them. And it also means we continue to create openings. Speaking of, we have also hired Kim Silva as our Director of Student Services for school leadership. She will be supporting our assistant superintendents of school leadership, K-12, and Kim then is leaving Early College Academy as the principal to take this job. Prior to that, she was an assistant principal at Northridge and just really has extensive experience in education, and we're excited to have her in the role. We have not yet filled the Early College Academy principalship, but that's coming this week, I believe. And then I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Jim Butterfield. Jim is going to be the coordinator at the Poudre Learning Center and for STEM education. So Jim Jim, you might be the oldest one here. Sorry, but he comes to us with lots of experience. And I will, in full disclosure, Jim and I worked together at one time, a long time ago in both of our careers. So Jim comes, he served this past year as interim AP at Central High School, and then has experience as a middle-level principal over on the Western Slope. He's been an athletic director. He's been a high school assistant principal. He's been a special education teacher, and he's been an industrial technology teacher and lots of other things. So welcome, Jim, to the Poudre Learning Center and to STEM education. Glad to have you. And then I want to introduce to you, I think you know these next two folks, but I want to make sure you have it all straight in your head. Tom Gribble is moving to Executive Director of Student Services in our district. And Tammy Branham, who is former Special Ed Assistant Director, is moving to Director of Student and Staff Support. So I saw Tammy earlier, but maybe she's, oh, there she is. I knew I saw you earlier. And I'll just remind you all that Tom's change in role and Tammy coming to this role is some of the work that we did through teacher negotiations this year as we identified, the needs that our staff and students really need around social emotional learning and supports for everybody to be successful in the classroom. So I wanted to introduce them to you. And then finally, in human resources, we have two gentlemen joining our human resources team. One is familiar to you as a director of human resources, our principal and AP from Dos Rios, Matt Thompson, Dr. Matt Thompson. You all have had the opportunity to work with Matt during negotiations, so you know what a nice fit he's going to be there in the human resources. And then finally, our one out-of-district hire, Scott Gray, for Director of Human Resources. And he comes to us with 17 or so years of HR experience, some personal business experience of owning his own business, has experience from JBS as well as most recently at Acerterra, did I say it right, in Longmont. Yes. So welcome to you all, and congratulations to all of you on your new appointments here in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch, and congratulations to everyone on new positions. And Chief Gates, we will certainly miss you. We know your legacy in Greeley is far bigger than even just your legacy in District 6, but we appreciate what you've done for our district. I can certainly say as a parent of kids who've been in this district for about 15 years now, and nothing's more important to me than my kids' safety. And so I appreciate your vision and the way that you have made our district safer, even as you leave. That what you leave behind makes our kids safer, and so we appreciate you very much. So, next on our agenda is public participation. As a board, we welcome the comments of community members, and we dedicate a portion of each business meeting to provide an opportunity for the community to present brief comments. All speakers are limited to 2 minutes for comments. Our board members typically will not respond or engage in discussion, but we may ask our district staff to respond. All written testimony or speaker handouts must be submitted to our board secretary, Ms. Amy Lemon. The board is committed to providing a safe environment where all members of the school community are treated with dignity and respect, and we expect all speakers to exercise their speech rights responsibly. Speakers are responsible for their own speech rights, and speakers' remarks must be suitable for an audience that includes kindergarten through 12th grade students. Anyone who disturbs order may be required to sit down or to leave the boardroom. We ask all speakers and those in attendance to conduct themselves in a dignified and non-disruptive manner. Cheering, snapping, clapping, and other distractions are not allowed during or upon completion of any public comment. With that read, our first speaker tonight is Ms. Ellen Foster. Welcome, Ms. Foster. We don't have the normal clock for you to see, but you'll have two minutes, and Ms. Lemon will let you know when that's concluded.
Okay. I would love to see you all, but that will be another time. We hear often about things that go wrong at schools with kids or teachers or parents, and I just want to share some experiences I had this year of things that went right. In December, my sister had some health issues and was basically camped out on my recliner, and I told the kids, normally my phone is put away and turned off because I focus on you 100% just as I expect you to focus on your work 100%. But if my sister needs to reach me, she needs to reach me. So we got through that, and then several weeks later, after the issue was resolved, my phone, I'd forgotten to turn it off. It was in the cupboard, it went off, and a kid jumped up so quickly he knocked his chair over and went, "Your sister, go check on her." Also then, after his surgery, I was in a no heavy lifting zone, and I told the kids that. I said, I'm going to need some help with this. So kids would see me walking through the halls with a laptop or a book and say, Ellen, you're not supposed to be carrying those things. Let me get that for you. At the end of the school year, the library and literacy lab needed to be packed up again, which fell under my supervision. And I had enough parents signed up that we got done and had extra parents to help with some other tasks. So the community really rallied around. With all my health issues this year, the staff also really rallied around and was very helpful. So I just want to compliment to say that we are creating caring communities with our kids, with our families, with our staffs. And it is a wonderful thing to know that in hard times, somebody's out there for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. Next tonight, we have Ms. Maria Foster. Welcome, Ms. Foster, and yes, you'll have 2 minutes, though. If you can keep that time yourself, that's a wolf for us tonight.
Okay, setting my own timer. Last week, I had the pleasure of running into a teacher who works at Jefferson High School, and she teaches ESL. And as we were chatting, I learned a lot more about Jefferson. And the first thing that struck me was how passionate she was about her job. Because she talked about when administrators ask, what can we do for you? She said, send me the kids. Send me these refugee kids. I will get them through before they age out of the system. I will get them qualified and get their high school diploma. So kudos to her for her passion. But then she told me more about some of these refugee kids, and I was pretty impressed by how hard they must work. A lot of them are coming from countries where they may have had at best a 3rd grade education or a 6th grade education. So not only are they learning English, they're getting their education. And she said a lot of these kids are working at JBS overnight, so they work, and then they show up for school in the morning, and they are happy to be there, and nobody complains. And they go home in the afternoon and get a nap before they go back to work again. So kudos to those kids who are, those young adults who are working so hard to take advantage of the opportunity that the district is providing for them. And lastly, then, I want to say kudos to the administrators, kudos to the board for supporting Jefferson High School, because I look at those kids and think, they are here, and we need to give them an opportunity, and they're grabbing hold of it and running with it. So she mentioned that this year they graduated 150 students, which was more than they've ever done before. And I think she's looking forward to the next year. So again, we've got these refugee young adults, children in our community, and to see how hard they're working to get ahead and take advantage of the opportunities. And I want to thank the board for providing them with those opportunities.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. Next tonight, we have Mr. Brian Sullivan. Welcome, Mr. Sullivan. Thank you for being here. You'll have 2 minutes.
I just want to say in your Innovation 2030 Values and Beliefs section, it states that you are committed to hiring and retaining quality staff. But Innovation 2030, under the strategic plan portion, under the outcomes column, it reads, and I quote, "You want to annually increase the diversity of employees to reflect student demographics in District 6. Well, 65% of those students in District 6 are not white. So is it your intention to hire 65% black and brown teachers and fire the white teachers based solely on their white skin color just to meet some twisted DEI quota? Why do you want to brainwash the kids into thinking that they can only learn from someone who shares their same skin color? In doing this, you continue to lead the kids down the road of being a victim rather than a victor. Mr. Matthews, in the April 26th school board meeting, you said that you had above average teachers. So if you have above average teachers, why aren't the current teachers in District 6 able to teach the kids without skin color being a factor? Why do you think our brown and black students aren't bright enough to learn from someone with a different skin color? Or is it just that you're racist against white teachers? When are you, Mr. Matthews, Mr. Bentley, Mr. Azari, Mrs. Mash, Mrs. Campos-Spitzy, and Mrs. Pilch going to start treating everybody like Americans and stop trying to divide us? Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. That concludes our public participation tonight. And next we'll have our consent agenda, and someone will need to make a motion.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves items as presented on the consent agenda and authorizes the officers to sign any and all contracts.
Second.
Thank you both. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? And again, you'll have to just speak up because I won't be able to see if you have any discussion. With nobody speaking, Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please, on our consent agenda?
Director Azari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Our next item of business and our next few items of business will be some revisions to policies. And our first revision to policy will be policy AC, our non-discrimination equal opportunity. And this is an action item that will need a motion.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves revisions to policy AC, non-discrimination equal opportunity as presented, effective as of July 1st, 2024.
Second.
Thank you both. Before we open this up for discussion from board members, Dr. Pilch, is there anything you would like to say about this policy specifically, or about the group of policies we're about to review?
Thank you, President Matthews. I'll just address all of the 6 policies that are going to be before you tonight, and just say that you've all had a chance to review them. We met in executive session with legal counsel to receive legal advice regarding these policies. I would ask, if you have questions, that we would have Mr. Fall, legal counsel, support those questions with me. But otherwise, I think you all have a strong understanding what we're proposing with these policies, and we will come back as needed at a future meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch. Any questions or comments from board members on our policy or on this motion?
I wasn't sure if Nate was going to give some information, but I wanted him to just go over the state laws that were passed that these policy changes or revisions are going to be based on.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Campos-Spitzy. So as far as the changes to all policies, they're really related to 3 changes in the law. So the first would be Senate Bill 23296, was a bill that addressed harassment and discrimination in schools. And so that change is made in policy AC that's before you right now. Another policy, or another law, I should say, that isn't necessarily addressed in this specific policy, but it will be addressed in some board regulations, is the POWER Act. That's POWR. That was another bill that was passed in 2023 that made pretty substantive changes to employee rights in the state of Colorado. And then the last were amendments to Title IX of the Education Act of 1972. And all 3 of those have come out pretty recently. And so we did receive some proposed revisions from the Colorado Association of School Boards. I have also gone through this policy with our Title IX coordinator and compliance officer, Mr. Jim Donahue. And we've provided kind of our own revisions as well to these policies that meet District 6 needs. But those are the 3 primary areas of law.
Any other comments or questions on this particular policy? Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Azari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Next on our agenda is first read and emergency repeal of policy AC-R1, non-discrimination, equal opportunity. It's a complaint and compliance process, and this is an action item that needs a motion.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 repeals policy ACR1, non-discrimination, equal opportunity, complaint and compliance process, effective as of July 1st, 2024, and as allowed in policy BG, school board policy process, which states, under unusual circumstances, the board may temporarily approve a policy to meet emergency conditions, and policy repeal shall be accomplished in the same manner as policy adoption.
Second.
Thank you both. Any questions or comments? And Mr. Fall, I don't know if everyone heard that motion or comprehended everything that was being said in the motion, but will you just explain why we're voting on a first read? Because normally we don't do that, and there is a reason behind that.
Right. So this policy in front of you, ACR 1, was previously a board regulation that had been adopted as policy in accordance with law. And so this ACR 1 is in relation to that bill that law I just mentioned, Senate Bill 23296, which is preventing harassment and discrimination in schools. And so what we're doing is we are repealing that previous policy, and we are adopting a new policy here. Because Senate Bill 23296 requires that boards of education adopt a written policy in accordance with that new law that specifically is outlined here in this policy ACR 1. And so typically the board policies process when it comes to a new policy is that you need to have a first reading and a second reading in order for it to be officially approved. But given that there is just one remaining board meeting today, we are using the board's emergency adoption procedures. And so you are kind of temporarily adopting this policy. And then when you come back for your first meeting on August 12th, we'll be officially adopting this policy. But based on your emergency approval today, and as you mentioned in the motion, it will be effective July 1st. We will be moving to this policy July 1st. So all future district practices and procedures will abide strictly by this policy starting from July 1st. It just won't be technically adopted in accordance with the board's own policy process, but that emergency conditions provision does give you the authority to approve it for now.
Thank you, Mr. Fall. Any other questions or comments from board members? Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Zari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzi?
Aye.
Director Mesh?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. Next on our agenda is the first read and emergency adoption of policy AC-R1, harassment and discrimination investigation procedures for students. And this is an action item.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves policy AC-R1, harassment and discrimination investigation procedures for students as presented effective as of July 1st, 2024, and is allowed by policy BG school board policy process, in which states under unusual circumstances, the board may temporarily approve a policy to meet emergency conditions.
Second.
Thank you both. Any questions or comments on this one? Seeing none, Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Zari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzi?
Aye.
Director Mesh?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next up is revisions to policies AC-R2, Title IX, sexual harassment grievance procedures. And this is also an action item.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves revisions to policy ACR2 Title IX sex-based harassment grievance procedures as presented, effective as of August 1st, 2024.
Second.
Any questions, comments on this particular policy? Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Zari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzi?
Aye.
Director Mesh?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next are revisions to policies GBAA, sexual harassment, and this is also an action item.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves revisions to policy GBAA, sexual harassment, as presented, effective as of July 1st, 2024.
Second.
Thank you both. Any questions or discussions on this policy? Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Zari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzi?
Aye.
Director Mesh?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. And our final revisions are revisions to policy JBB, sexual harassment under Title IX and other prohibited misconduct of a sexual nature. And this is also an action item.
Is it an action item? I don't have a motion for that one.
Oh, I don't see a motion either, but it does say action item.
Is that one the regulation?
Is this for JBB?
Yes.
So you could use the same, state the same motion for GBAA, but just substitute the.
Okay. I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves revisions to policy JBB, sexual harassment under Title IX and other prohibited misconduct of a sexual nature as presented.
Second.
Thank you both. Any questions for Mr. Fall or comments about this policy?
Do we need to add as of July 1st on that? Or did she? I couldn't hear her.
You could make a motion to amend.
Natalie's motion?
Yeah.
I move to amend Natalie's motion to add effective as of July 1st, 2024.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the amendment? So we'll vote on the amendment first and then we'll go back. That will become the motion and if it passes, which I expect that it will. Any discussion? All right. Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote on Mr. Bentley's amendment to the motion?
Director Azari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right. That now has become the motion, and we'll need to, unless there's further discussion, vote on the final version of this motion. All right. Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote?
Director Azari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. That concludes all of our board priorities and policies. Thank you, Mr. Fall, for being here tonight to walk us through that. Next on our agenda is the resolution for superintendent spending authority over the summer, and this also is an action item.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves the resolution to authorize delegating authority to superintendent for continuing operations during summer months.
Second.
Thank you both. And I'll just explain for everyone, since we won't meet for roughly 2 months, right at 2 months, our approved spending limit for Dr. Pilch is normally $250,000, and we need her sometimes to sign off on, especially on bond projects that exceed that number. And so we are giving her temporary authority, and we will then approve whatever she decides to spend over the next on those things over the next few months. We'll approve those in August. Any questions or comments on this motion? Ms. Lemon, will you give us a vote, please?
Director Azari?
Aye.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Campos-Spitzy?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Matthews?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon. That is all the business that we have tonight. Again, I want to thank Toynton for allowing us to be here, for their staff. Also want to thank Teresa and George and Amy and all of our security team. And I'm sure there's some other people, but I know that these guys played an important role in moving our meeting to this location. So we thank you all very much. And this meeting is adjourned.